Unless the politicians do, because they're smart, because everyone knows that's going to be the first question in the next election cycle. How much did you reduce your rent by? So he should probably do that. And if he's got people watching this, they should probably tell him to do that. And I might have just given him an out, because obviously if it wasn't said to them, of course he's not going to reduce the rent of his, because then it becomes a better investment. Anyway, we should let him, actually, now we should ignore everything we've just said, remove our brains and listen to how Luxon explains it. So last night, whoever those two young upstarts were talking about this, and one of the things that kind of bit older, bit less eruptive one said was, he is going to get asked how much he's reducing his rent for his rentals by, right? We said that last night. Someone's been watching, Chewy, because guess what was a question to him today?
Ooh.
Now, this is where he makes himself unrelatable on a scale you could not believe. I'll play it first. I like spoiling things, but I'll play it first.
Yeah, you've been on a tear of that tonight.
I have. Here we go.
It's going to make a difference to the rents that you charge your tenants for the properties that you own?
Look, ultimately that's a decision for me personally, but no, this won't do. It won't make any impact for me at all.
You mean?
Okay, yeah, but hang on. But this is the unrelatable bit. Why won't it make a difference, Chewy? Why won't it make a difference? It won't make a difference because he has no debt on any of his rentals. Because this is about interest deductibility. So he on one hand is saying it won't make a difference on mine because that's how wealthy and unattainable I am. And I also won't put any downward pressure on my rent. So basically he's saying I'm not going to reduce the rent on my tenants. I don't get the benefit of the deduction because I own them freehold. So it means I will still just charge them what they're being charged right now. The downward pressure that will come through the community will not be impacted, will not impact my tenants because I don't get the interest deductibility. So on one level, he's saying something that is almost impossible to think about. But on another level, he's also showing how his plan for downward pressure won't work for some properties.
It's going to make a difference to the rents that you charge your tenants for the properties that you own?
Look, ultimately that's a decision for me personally, but no, this won't do. It won't make any impact for me at all.
Gap.
You mean you're still going to raise the rents? It's not going to put any downward pressure on the rents that you charge your tenants?
Well, sorry, no, what I mean is I don't have any mortgages, Anna. So this is about interest deductibility on mortgages for landlords. And I'm in a different situation. I'm very fortunate I don't have any mortgages.
Okay.
So relatable, our Prime Minister. I own 7 properties, 5 of them are rentals, and I have no mortgages. So very relatable. Go for it, Joe.
So hang on. Because if you draw a line there, it's like, oh yeah, if we reduce costs for these landlords, right, there'll be downward pressure on rent. So therefore, if you have no real major costs, you own your houses debt-free, then people should be living there just for the cost of the building, like maybe your yearly rates and maintenance, right? There's no cost to the mortgage. Is that what we're talking, Luxon? No, fucking course not. We're talking about market forces where you will charge rent as high as the market will bear. The rent that you set has actually very little to do with your costs. Any real estate agent or property manager will constantly be putting pressure on you. If your rent is lower than what it is for the average of the area, your property manager will be telling you to put the rent up. Your accountant will be telling you to put the rent up. Why are you giving away this value for free when no one around you is? That is where rent comes from. Not the bright line test, not interest deductibility, not healthy home standard. They have a small short-term effect. But overall, it is market forces. And this government, the government of business and numbers, laughably, does not understand that. They're chipping away at the edges of a castle that they don't want to knock down.
The other thing that he misses, it's funny how he talks about, patronisingly talks to Anna Burns Francis about her not sort of getting it. The reason he doesn't get it is that downward pressure implies rents across the whole area will go down. So let's say you've got a rental property in Brooklyn, in Wellington, right? Downward pressure means rent becomes cheaper. When it becomes cheaper, supply and demand, it will drive other rents down, because all of a sudden the house next to you is $200 cheaper than this one. So why would I live here? I'll go there. So these ones have to reduce it. So he can't even figure out that if this theory that he's floating around would work, i.e. downward pressure, the rents in his freehold property would go down, because you're not going to be able to rent them out at exorbitantly more than the ones in the neighborhood around you if that downward pressure was to work, which I don't believe it will. But he can't even go think. Okay, of course, if downward pressure comes to the neighborhood from my houses, then I would just, change my rents to whatever the market would dictate. He just goes, no, because mine are freehold. It's like he's not smart enough. I mean, he's obviously smart. He's done business and stuff, and he's done his things, but he's not smart enough and quick enough in the moment to not fumble over that and tell the whole of New Zealand that he is so wealthy that all of his rental properties have no, or that's not actually, can I tell you something? That's not even good business, Mr. Luxon. I know some property investors, and what they typically tend to do is they get interest-only mortgages. And then the equity grows, and they buy another one, and they put none of their money into the houses. And it's horrible, I know, but that's what smart investors do. So even what he's doing, telling us that, is showing us that he's got too many ivory back scratches, and he doesn't fucking know how to invest.